Great day, dear ones. Can you hear me? Today we are going to discuss on the topic listening skill, comprehending to dialogues and conversations. Are you listening to me? So there are two statements uttered to you. First, can you hear me? And then, are you listening to me? So there is a vast difference between hearing and listening. Hearing is what you are able to perceive as sounds. You need not understand what you are hearing, but listening has a need as well as an intention. So there is a need to respond to what you are listening, and you have to understand initially what is spoken to you. So, with these two concepts in your mind, with these differences of what is hearing and what is listening, let us go and explore this topic of how you're going to comprehend to dialogues or conversations. So you have to understand what do you mean by listening. Let us see in what ways you're going to see this topic. So the contents which are to be discussed are the introduction of what is listening, the importance of listening, what are the different types of listening, what are the blocks in the process of listening, and we will be concluding, which will be proceeding to the part 2 of listening skill. So, to introduce, it is one of the four major skills and the first skill which you have to acquire. So, only when you listen, you will be able to respond. So, there should be listening for any activity to begin. So, it contributes primarily for language expertise. So, if you want to be very confident and if you want to be an expert in the language, you have to listen properly. Then it awakens the awareness of the language. So you will be able to understand in which tone and in which style you have to speak. You have to respond when you are listening. Only then you will be able to understand the nuances of the language. Then you have to learn to listen to the target language, which improves your language ability. So to increase your language ability, you have to listen the sound, the rhythm, the intonation, and the stress of the language can only be perfected when you adapt to listening. And you will understand the nuances of the particular language when you listen. So, as we get to understand the spoken language, it is easier to improve the other skills, and you will be gaining confidence when you are listening to language. So, it not only helps in listening, understanding the language, but also in understanding other subjects which you are going to pursue in your life. Okay. So let us see how much time we spend listening. So the research says that 40 to 50% of our time is spent in listening. Only 25 to 30 percentage we spend in speaking, 11 to 16 percentage on reading, and 9 percentage in writing. So with this, we can understand that listening is very, very important. What is the importance of listening and why we have to listen? So it increases the ability to communicate. It will make you understand the second language, and you can acquire the second language skills in a more easier way if you start listening. There will be lower level of frustration or anxiety. So when someone asks you to speak something or write something, first you have to listen to the language, you have to understand the language, then only you will be able to understand, you will be able to do other things in the language. Okay, it improves your relationship. Only if you are ready to listen, you will be able to understand what the person is coming to convey to you. Only after understanding you will be able to respond properly. So it is very essential in building a relationship with any person around you who is speaking to you. Then there will be a stronger sense of empathy. You will be able to feel along with the person. It retains more information. It helps you to retain more information. The more you listen, consciously listen, you will be able to retain information. Then it is less likely to feel unprepared and frustrated. Only if you know for what you're going to respond, or for what you have listened, for what you have understood, you will be able to prepare yourself to respond accordingly. It can lead to improved self efficacy. So, your self efficiency towards doing something will increase when you are able to listen properly. You will be able to feel confident, comfortable, and well prepared when you are ready to listen and if you're able to understand what you have listened. What are the different types of listening? There are two types of listening. One is active listening and another one is passive listening. We can see both type of listeners in the same classroom, and it is quite interesting to see how the active listeners respond and the passive listeners respond. So who are active listeners? It cannot be defined actually, but paying attention to a speaker and listening to understand, not to respond. The way you sit and behave as if you have understood things, the nodding of your head itself, if the person has studied body language, they will be able to understand whether you are able to attend to or you are paying attention to what we are speaking. So, paying attention to a speaker and listening to understand, not to respond, is known as active listening. And it also includes the complete focus on the speaker. We will not be distracted, but you will be listening to the person with respect and an intent to learn. That is only known as active listening. So many people, nearly 60 to 75 percentage, more than 75 percentage, y'all involved in passive listening because we always feel great about ourselves. Listening while multitasking. So you will be sending messages and you will be almost writing another assignment but nodding your head. That is only passive listening. A passive listener might pay attention to a speaker with the sole intent to respond or place some of their attention in another task. So you will be paying attention to other tasks also. So I make a suggestion. Just take this list of all the books which always specify the importance of listening. Okay, this is a just suggestion. I want it will be better if you are able to read all these books for active listening. Next, what are the blocks? Christian Go was a person, she's the director of the National Institute of Education. She conducted a study on learners' perceptions of listening and what are the problems they face when they comprehend. And she was able to identify the three phases of listening, which were perception, parsing, and utilization. According to that, you will be perceiving. First, you will be receiving what the person speaks. Then you will be processing it, and then you will be utilizing it. So, all these stages, she says that there are blocks, there are problems in these processes, and these problems can be identified as when you are perceiving. You will be knowing the words, but you will not be able to recognize what those words are when they are spoken or when you start listening them in a context. Next, you will neglect the next part when thinking about the meaning of the first part, which was there. You will not be able to chunk streams of speech. That is, if there is a continuous listening task, you will not be able to understand the different. If there is even the coherence, you will not be able to follow it. You will be missing the beginning of the text because since you have lost yourself in recognizing the words, you concentrate, either you will be concentrating too hard or you will not be able to concentrate. This happens at the perception level, but when you are processing it, you quickly forget what is heard. When you're processing it, you will be thinking, what did that person say? I'm not able, oh my god, it is not coming again. Okay, it will not come again into your mind. You will not be able to understand the mental representations because you are not able to picturize it properly, and you will not be able to understand subsequent parts of input because of earlier problems. Because of these problems, you will not be able to understand the remaining of the text. Next, the utilization. When you're going to use it, what are the difficulties you'll be facing? You will understand the words, but not the message. You will not be understanding for what it was there. You will be confused about the key ideas in the message. And with this era of technology, with all the texting of the messages, we have all lost the skill of listening and responding. So without listening skills, language learning will become impossible. Since you will not be able to respond, there will be no communication. Where there is no communication, there is no human interaction. Nowadays we are there without any interaction between us. And listening is crucial not only in language learning, but you will also read the other subjects only with this listening skill. And you have to start spending much time to improve your listening skill. You have to use appropriate strategies and follow the steps of active listening. Engage yourself in listening and comprehending. With this, we will be continuing the same topic in part 2. Thank you.